the stock market booming right now. Obama says, I'm sorry, Trump says, it's me, I'm awesome. Everything that went wrong, Obama over there, the guy that just left. Everything that's going right, me. Okay, I'm tremendous. Stock market's bigly because of me. And actually, there's a rare case where he's a little bit right, and I'll tell you why. Not nearly all the way right, in my opinion. So let's show you graphic 12, actually. First of all, just show you how the Dow Jones is doing right now, and it is doing well lately. And so part of the reason is that Obama.
What are those? I literally don't know what the numbers are on the bottom.
No one does. It's okay. It's the chart's going up bad.
24, 26, 31, 279. Oh, those are the numbers that Damon, the guy, had to hit and lost. That's what that is. Yeah.
And the world didn't blow up.
What was his name?
Not yet, at least.
Brother?
I think it was Damon, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Okay. Now, partly the stock market is doing well because Obama left Trump with pretty excellent economy. We definitely can argue, and I do argue, that wages are way too low, et cetera, but the stock market was in good shape, unemployment was in great shape, et cetera. Whereas Bush handed Obama an absolute disaster. Literally the Great Recession and perhaps even a depression. So there's giant difference. But the reason that Trump, I think, deserves, well, it's not deserves credit. He is partly responsible for this because, as I will show you, I don't think it's a thing that you should get credit for. It's a sugar high. So he's saying, oh, don't worry, everybody. I'm going to deregulate everything. I'm going to let you run roughshod over your consumers. I'm going to lower your taxes. So some of the companies are like, well, that sounds pretty good in the short run, yeah. Right? But so it is partly him that is driving the Dow Jones. I don't know what the percentages are, but a little bit of each, I think. But there's a reckoning. That sugar high doesn't last. I mean, at some point, if you artificially inflate like this, not based on sound economics and fundamentals, but based on, I'm going to give you all the goodies, you crash. That's what happens. Joe, what's your take on it?
My first take is to remind all of us that the stock market is not a reflection of the economy's health.
Yeah.
The health of the economy is a component of the stock market, but a bigger component is the profitability of corporations. And we could very well have a dynamic where corporate profits boom, but most of the rest of America struggles. And so I just really anchor us in the reality that stock market up does not mean economy good for most people. Now, I can tell you when most people are doing well, that's virtuous for the stock market. But there are ways the stock market can rise even in the absence of everyone else sharing in prosperity. And I think what may happen in the Trump era is that the stock market could continue to rise. Well, the rest of American families are left behind.
Yeah, I hear you. That is entirely possible, and it's a great point. The stock market does not equal the economy. And they say, oh, everybody's in the stock market. It's a 401k. It's actually not true. Yeah. The overwhelming majority of the money in the stock market is at the very top percentiles in wealth. But even so, I think it's going to crash. I don't think the stock market's going to do well either, because it's that kind of damn the torpedoes is not sustainable.
And that's basically what happened, not the crash part, under Obama. I mean, as good as the stock market was, that did not reflect the overall health of the economy, right?
That's right, that's right. And this is where, as progressives, we can be really confident in how our values actually help everyone, including companies. 70% of the economy is based on consumption. And as we all know, the economy has been stuck in this kind of middling level of growth. The reason is simple. People who need to buy things don't have any money. And the people who have money have run out of things to buy. And actually, when you talk to corporations, one of the biggest problems that they cite when they look out to their future growth is the fact that their consumers don't have any money. Right? And so when I talk with friends and groups about the need to enhance progressive economic policy to help middle income and low income people have more money to spend, a big beneficiary of middle and low income people having more money would be companies.
Right.
That's the irony. Progressive economics are good for everyone, not just middle and low income people.
No, I know a lot of wealthy progressives and business owners who are like, Nick Hanauer is a great example of it. He's like, for God's sake, the way the economy grows is if the middle class has money.
That's right.
Right? Otherwise, they're not going to buy anything, and then we're all going to be out of business.
So let's go back to something you said then in the very first, I think the first segment, which really stunned me. 75% of Americans cannot handle a $700 financial shock.
That's right.
Right? Well, if you can't handle a $700 financial shock, you're not buying anything.
Exactly.
Because you're constantly worried that you're going to have a $700 financial shock.
That's right.
That your car is going to hit something, that you're going to have an insurance claim, you're going to have to pay your deductible, or God forbid somebody gets sick.
Yeah.
And you also don't have a lot of assets in the stock market.
No, right. You may have to pull out of your 401k, or maybe you're taking it out of your SEP.
Yeah. So there's a lot of hype out there about how the stock market is the end all be all, and if it's up temporarily, that must mean that things are great. Not necessarily the case. So I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on it. If you got money in the stock market, enjoy while it lasts.
Also, I think these guys are fools. They have a fool for a leader. The boss is a fool. Not everybody around him's an idiot, but he's an idiot. And instability is not what the market likes, and he is unstable.
And in fact, yeah. Sorry, Ben. Last thing on this is Business Insider even pointed out that the companies are looking forward to the temporary high until the instability sets in. Then they're really worried about what happens at that point.
Right.
With the trade wars, his constant talk of lowering the dollar, and all these things that Wall Street's like, oh, we don't like that part.
Right. God forbid what William Perry's going around the country talking about, which is forget trade wars, war, nuclear war.
Yeah.
That's going to have that would anywhere, even a regional nuclear war, even a Pakistan-India, which is devastating economic consequences around the globe.
Yeah. Turns out nuclear war doesn't help folks.
Yeah. Even the winners.
Yes, doesn't even help the stock
Winners.
market.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Sandberg, first appearance on the Young Turks. Okay, great job, Joe.
Thanks so much.
You.
Thanks,
man.
Joe. That was
Thanks.
super informative. Thank you.
I don't know if you got a chance to notice this, but check out aspiration.com/TYT.
Also, I'm just saying, I'm asking for a friend. If I had a friend who had a lot of money with Wells Fargo and maybe a mortgage, there's somebody they could probably talk to over at aspiration.com. Yeah?
You bet. Yeah, you bet.
well,
Aspiration.com.
I'll tell her.
Please.
Okay, all right, go to aspiration.com/TYT. Good things come from it.